And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. And what a happy Wednesday it has been. I'm going to tell you something. I have been so stoked today because I have Brian Hess from The Morning Perspective to share with you guys this evening. And I'm going to tell you how important this is for me is because The Morning Perspective, if you haven't tuned in, if you haven't watched it, you're missing out on so many blessings because I'm not going to take Brian's thunder of what he does. So I'm going to have, but just know you have been such a blessing to me, The Morning Perspective show, and just everything that you do, all of your great insights has impacted my life in such a way that I'm just stoked. Happy Wednesday and welcome.
Happy Wednesday to you. I'm happy to be here, and it is a pleasure. And just so everybody knows, this lady right here was like one of the first massive supporters that I had, and was always showing up and always making me feel great first thing in the morning. So the feeling is mutual. Thank you for having me. It's an honor and a privilege to be here.
Thank you. It's awesome. So tell me, or tell everyone, how did you get started with who is Brian Hess and what is The Morning Perspective? And I'm going to put a little bit of your info, just a snapshot here on the ticker. This is just a few of the many facets of Brian. So do share, would you?
Yeah. So I think most importantly, I'm a father of 4 beautiful children and a husband to an amazing wife who literally deals with all of the things that I got going on with such grace, and she just makes it look easy. So that's first and foremost. And then, business-wise, entrepreneur involved in several different companies. I've got the Pavement Group, which is a nationwide asphalt and concrete company. So we operate out of a few different cities, but we service customers across the country and internationally in some cases too. And then I have Top Contractor School, which is a coaching company for contractors to help them scale and grow their businesses. So that's there's probably about close to 350 contractors, give or take, in our programs there. And then I'm a partner at Lead Revenue, which is a digital marketing company that's focused also on helping contractors, but we do business with lots of different companies as well. But, trying to keep everything kind of in the same element of the construction world. Lots of stuff going on. I've got The Morning Perspective that I do now. It's at 8:00 Eastern every single morning, live on Facebook and live on YouTube. I've got a podcast that we do for Lead Revenue called the Digital Contractor Podcast. And then we also have a podcast for the Pavement Group as well that we do. So, my biggest goal in life is to impact and help people, and, to do that as often as I can, to set a great example for my kids, to try and show them what it's like to serve and help others so that hopefully they can do the same when they grow up. But just lots of stuff going on with business, just try to keep it fresh, try to keep it always moving in different directions. And it is never boring. That's for sure. Never boring.
I'm sure. So were you always in the contracting business, or how did you get into the contracting business? Because you were in telecommunications before, weren't you?
Yep. I was in telecom with Verizon, and I ended up moving from Pittsburgh down to South Florida. So I took a promotion, and the very first appointment that I went on down there with my team was with a construction company. And 1 year later to the day, I went and worked for that company. The guy literally at the end of that meeting offered me a job, and I said, man, I don't know. I was 30 years old working in corporate America. I had a pretty good gig going on. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to take you up on that offer. But a year to the day later, I took him up on that offer and went into private business. And so I have a strong technology background. That's what I did most of my life before I entered into construction. And so that's kind of the intersection of, how we operate at the Pavement Group and, what we teach in Top Contractor School, and then obviously a digital marketing company. It kind of all fused together to kind of make sense in this new industry that I'm in. Back involved in a lot of technology stuff. We try to bring technology to an industry that lacks it at the Pavement Group. So we try to use technology at every twist and turn that we can to kind of improve the customer experience, to increase communications, to reduce costs, all that kind of stuff. And leveraging technology in today's world really makes the customer experience better. And so, that's one of the things that we believe in heavily, is that innovation is at the core of, what is coming in the future. And so we're trying to be on the forefront of all of that in the construction industry.
Yeah, I saw some of your footage. It's been a while back that you, I think it was taken with a drone. And I remember sitting there thinking to myself, is this really happening right now? Seriously, like I said, this is really state of the art. Who would have thought? If anybody didn't get that deal as a result of that, they're just, they're just crazy.
Yeah. We try to do a lot, even on the prospecting side of things, to kind of show customers how we're different. We're not just another paving company, and we don't just pave parking lots. We really focus on solving problems at the core of those problems, and I think that a lot of times that's one of the mistakes that businesses make, is that they get so busy providing services that they forget that they're actually supposed to be solving problems, and those problems, with technology moving as fast as it does today, and it changes so fast, and there's always things, improving and new things out there, right? The software that we're using right now, didn't exist a few years ago, right? And so,
Wow.
When you think about that, you have to stay on the forefront of that. You have to really be dialed into it, or somebody's going to pass you up, and so we try to get to the core of those problems, really, asking people, what are the problems that you're dealing with? And what we've realized is that, it's not the problems that people think. People think that, all the problems are with regard to, how the parking lot is paved, or what materials you're using, or what equipment. And it's really not. It's about the planning and execution, and truly the customer experience that people have, right? What is the experience like working with your company, and how easy is it to do business with you? And in today's world, if you don't make it easy for people to do business with you, they have lots of options, right? They have plenty of other options that they can go and choose. And they have this trusty thing in their hand called a phone that they can Google another company that does exactly what you do. And it makes it extremely easy for them to get rid of you and choose somebody else. And so we try to do everything in our power to make sure that those customers, when they choose us for the first time, they become customers for life, because they can't get the experience that we offer them anywhere else.
Do you find when you're doing those presentations and like you show this type of technology and they're like blown away, that they're surprised?
Yeah, definitely. We are not your average paving company. When we show up and kind of show them how we intend to solve their problems, usually the general responses we get is like, I've been doing this for 10 years. Where have you guys been? I've never experienced something like this that could take so much of the burden that property owners and managers experience on a daily basis, and really, either reduce it or eliminate it. In a lot of cases, we're able to, give them information, give them data, and give them the ability to manage their properties in a much simpler way. And that is the goal of what we do, right? It's not too complicated. It's just, it takes hard work. It takes a lot of thought. It takes a lot of innovation to be able to get to that point of being able to provide those solutions. But once you get there, and you build a great relationship with your customer, and you leverage that technology to make things easier for both you and the customer, and everybody wins. So but they are typically surprised at the solutions that we have, because they've never seen it before.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how much experience did you have, Brian, before you got into this industry?
Absolutely none. Absolutely none. I was a lifelong technology guy. I went from wearing a suit and tie every day to work to, walking into a construction yard every day. And, what I realized was, and there was, my dad worked in the steel mills, and so I was around construction. There was construction in my family, things like that, but never anything, I never worked anywhere or had any direct experience. But what I realized is that business is business, and people are people, right? And whether it's leading employees, recruiting employees, communicating with customers, it's virtually all the same. You have to figure out, again, what problems are unique to the people that you're talking to, But it doesn't take, I'm a believer, especially with YouTube now, that you can learn how to do pretty much anything. I'm not sure that I would want like brain surgery from somebody that learned on YouTube, but there's a lot of things that I would trust somebody that started out learning on YouTube to do. Believe it or not, there's a lot of guys in our industry that got started in their businesses watching YouTube videos.
No kidding.
Yeah, being able to go out and, how do I spray sealer or how do I pave a parking lot? And then it's just, trial and error and trying it out and figuring it out for yourself. And if you're brave enough to do it, you can build a business, and you got to be smart. You hopefully go get a job with somebody training a little bit to kind of figure out and work out the kinks. But at the end of the day, I mean, anybody can do anything that they want as long as they try hard enough and they're committed and they just don't give up. Right.
Yeah. We're looking at living proof here. I think that's incredible. I really think it's incredible. It's fascinating to me because, so many people, they make so many excuses. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do this. I can't do that. And then at the end of the day, their life has passed them by and they've just wasted it away. No joy, no fulfillment or anything. And they could have had everything that they ever wanted. You had mentioned before, you have your wife and your children. I mean, that is life right there. If you had nothing else, right, you have really succeeded in life of the blessings that God has given you.
Yeah, I've definitely checked more boxes than probably what I deserve in that arena. When I was a kid, I always imagined, having a family, and really, the life that I wake up to today is pretty similar to, what I would have dreamed when I was a kid. And there was a time in my life where I didn't think I was going to have that, and I think we all go through those times where, life knocks us down, and, you're laying down there on the ground in life and wondering how you're going to get back up again. And, the key is to, always remind yourself that, whatever you're going through, whatever, whether it's a dark time or a tough time or any level of adversity, I've been through a lot myself, and when you're going through that, it seems like forever, but when you get on the other side of it and you realize how much value there was in those lessons, right? How much value there was in that time that you had to reflect on yourself. I just covered this morning on Breakfast with Champions with Clubhouse, but the way that you get out of a bad spot is the first thing you have to do is take ownership, right? It's like, what part did you play in that? Because, it's not about how someone else interacts with you. It's about how you interact with them. And, every single bad situation that I've ever found myself in, there was an enormous amount of responsibility on me for allowing it to get to that point. And certainly, listen, if I want to sit there and talk about the blame and what the other person did wrong, I could do that all day long. But we all know how hard it is to change ourselves. So imagine how hard it is to try to change somebody else, right? So I just focus on taking responsibility myself and figuring out how to get better in my own life so that, number one, my interactions with other people are more valuable. I can help other people. I can solve more problems for other people. I can save them from going through the same adversity that I've been through. And that has worked wonders for me in my life, right? It's been the biggest blessing to be able to look at where I've been and what I've gone through and what I've come to today. And then to be able to share that journey and share that knowledge and share that hope and courage and belief with other people so that regardless of what they're going through, they can feel like there's always hope and there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
And that's key, hope. I think that's the number one thing that they're looking for is hope. And I'm going to tell you something, young man. You give a lot of people hope every single freaking day. Morning Perspective. I wish I could put in words what that show has meant to me. And if you have not tuned in to the Morning Perspective, you're missing out on just so many blessings. You have the ability, Brian, just to break things down in layman terms with a heart full of love every single morning. And sometimes they're longer, sometimes they're shorter, but we'll always see you tomorrow morning on Morning Perspective. Same time, same place.
Love
I
you
have
guys.
that playing in my ear.
I always finish it off, and I don't know how I started this, but I always say at the end, I love you guys. Thanks for being here.
Exactly.
And my wife, pointed it out to me one day. She goes, I think it's great that you always say, love you guys. You never know who out there may need to hear that morning. And, it's incredible. And thank you for the comments, and thank you for your relentless support and always kind words when it comes to that show. That was something that was on my heart for the longest time, to be able to just, I am a big believer that how you start your day is how, it really dictates so much of your life, and I thought a million times, like, man, I remember, being a kid and at my grandparents' house, or, my parents' house, and typically we would sit around and, coffee or, cereal, breakfast, whatever. And, in the background, it was, always, the news or TV on, or conversation, or the radio, or whatever it is. And to be honest, those things have never really been too uplifting, right? They've always been, you kind of leave the television programming these days with a burden that you have to carry for the day, right? And some weight. And so I thought to myself, man, if I could just, kind of give a nice positive lift to someone's morning, what a difference it could make in their life. And, when I thought about that, the part that I really missed, the part that I really overlooked, was what it would do for my own life. Right. And, no matter how much I wake up in the morning and I might not feel like it, or I'm just like anybody else, I'm not having a good morning, or, I forget to take the trash out, whatever it may be, right? The things that everybody deals with, by the time I get to 7:15 and it was time to do that show, I had really rewired, the programming in my mind, because I was, looking forward to delivering a message of positivity. And so, I would make up, kind of write down different topics that I would come across that would kind of, stand out to me as something that I wanted to talk about. And then, by the end of that 7:30 segment, to your point, whether it was 10 minutes, 15, 30, whatever it was, I started my day on the right foot because of that message. And I never realized that, and I had no idea when I started it, that hundreds of people would watch per day, and, tons more would download it, and people would be over on YouTube. I just, thought, man, I think that if I could just help one person, start their day a little bit better every single day, that would make a massive impact over 370 something episodes now. And, it has been one of the greatest blessings of my life, honestly. Like, I had no idea the impact that it would have on me or on other people when I started doing it. I just had an idea. I was actually on Glenn Lundy's show like a couple of weeks prior to launching Morning Perspective. I had the idea in my mind, and being on that show kind of gave me the extra push to say, I'm going to do this. I see the impact that's being made here. And, I think that I need to do something in the same, in the same way that this is being done. If I could do the same thing, it can make a massive impact on people. And it's been incredible. It's been a great ride.
Yeah. And what I really love too is, in the mornings, when the show would start, the individuals that would come on, and as you're on every morning, and then you'll get, hello, Patricia, or everybody started talking, because even though you didn't meet in person, you just knew who was coming on about the same time. You knew their verbiage, their dialogue, what. And I thought that was just so cool, because it was like, it's a family unit. It's a community of unification, and all there for one purpose, to get fed and to get that perspective. And so what I have really been learning too in the last recent weeks is really the power of choice and the power of making a decision. And had you not made that decision, look what the possibility of could not have happened and the lives that you could have impacted. Because I know my experience for myself, morning perspective saved me from a lot because I was not in a very good place. And so just having that motivation every morning, seeing those smiling faces every morning, seeing that desire just to help people. And more importantly, though, the authenticity of it. And it's just powerful. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for the kind words. And it is, I just believe that is, kind of our responsibility from, that's given to us for having the privilege to walk this earth, is to, try to help other people. And I've always been, a person that tried to help, in different ways. And I never, until I started that show, I never really realized the power of helping people in this digital atmosphere that we have, right? Where we can reach so many people and impact so many people. I have people that will reach out to me. I just shared this with you the other day, that'll send me messages that say like, oh man, I just watched episode 182 or whatever, and I'm like, wow, man, that was like, 2 years ago, or, however long it's been, a year and a half ago since that episode, was on Facebook, and people are going back and either listening to them on the podcast or finding them on YouTube. And it's just been incredible. There's my mom watching here. So hi, Mom. But it's been incredible, and the stories, and I want everybody that's listening to realize that, like, I'm not special. Patricia isn't special by having the ability to come on here and talk into a camera. We're just normal everyday people, just like you guys. And as I told Patricia the other day on the phone, like, everybody out there has a person that needs to hear from them, right? And so when you think about how many people out there need love and need care and just need to be seen and heard and cared for, and to have somebody out there to give them a different perspective on life, and maybe that hope that they need to borrow that day to just get through that one day, right? And right. I say this all the time, but when you don't have any hope, man, borrow somebody else's, and eventually you'll find some of your own. But the stories that have come out of doing that podcast, and I want to say this because I want to encourage other people to think about the impact that they could make. And I shared this with you the other day, but 2 people have reached out to me that haven't lost their life. They were ready to take their own life, and they listened to an episode of that show in the morning, and they changed their mind. One of them was literally in the process of trying to take his own life. And so, I get chills every time I tell that story.
I know,
but I think it's important for people to hear that, because I think sometimes we make it about ourselves, where we make it, well, I'm nervous, or, well, I don't know what to say, or, well, what if somebody doesn't listen to me? Well, what if that one person does, Yeah. And I shared this with you, one of the people, I'm friends with, I know, and I know his family, and I know his children, and I know, and so I can picture what that is like if that doesn't happen. And so, it's just an incredible thing to be able to look at, and the impact that you're able to make. And, it's one person at a time. That's what I think sometimes in social media we get obsessed over, statistics and data and how many people are watching. And, I always tell my team this when it comes to the business side of social media. It doesn't take 1,000 customers to watch. It just takes the right one.
Right.
It takes the right 2 or 3, whatever it may be. That's all it takes. It's just that one person that makes a difference, that one customer that you can land that can turn you on to another one. And on the personal side of things, it's that one person that needs to hear from you today, that if you don't show up and you don't click that button to go live, and you don't have something on your heart that you need to share, and you don't do it, who knows what happens? You will never know what happens from the message that you don't share.
Absolutely. And that brings up something, because I know another thing that is very important to you is culture and leadership even within your own company. So can you share how how you've cultivated that and just established those roots? Because that's something that I feel like is a lost art.
Yeah, I think, to me, my whole career, I spent a lot of my career working for companies, and a lot of great companies, by the way. I worked for a lot of great people and I learned a lot of great things. But everywhere that I was, I never really felt fully at home, I guess. I was very comfortable places. I was very happy working at different places, but I never really felt at home. I never really felt that, to your point, that culture that kind of just, wraps around you and makes you feel like, man, being part of this is going to make me a better person. I'm going to be better next week than I am this week for being part of this company. And I think that it's really, really important for us to realize, what that idea of culture really means. Like, what does it mean in a company? And how do we make people better? And how do we, create an environment that allows people to see a better version of themselves? And so morning perspective is one of the ways that I do that, right? And I say this often, but imagine for those of you who are out there that might have companies, or you're responsible for coaching other people, or you just want to inspire the team that you work on to be a little bit better. I may not interact with every single person on our team every single day, right? But they have the ability to go listen to my guidance, my thoughts, my coaching, my advice every day if they want to, right? Because they get new information every single morning, 5 days a week, that can be applied to their life. And, for me, culture is everything within a business. I think it's how people feel cared for. I think it's, how people, again, feel seen and really appreciated. And, I think that how culture is created is a really interesting approach. I think it starts and ends with authenticity, being yourself, being able to create that environment that allows you to, that really allows you to thrive in your own business, being yourself, being authentic, telling the truth, trying to make people better. And I think that, when you create that and you're very authentic, and by the way, the more public you are, this is something that I've learned through, the world of social media and being present and being fairly public, you start to attract more people that are after the same things, right? That really want to have a better life, that want to be part of a team that's pushing hard. People aren't going to be attracted to our company that aren't looking to make a difference, that aren't looking to, be pretty successful, because they're going to look at it and say, I'm not sure that I fit in there. And so I think that the more transparent and forward you are about, who you are as a person and how, that culture reflects your personality, I think the better things are going to be for your company, and the more successful that culture is going to be built. Now, how do you build it is another question, right? I'm working on that right now. I've been working on it for the last couple of weeks, really in depth. And I think that, it's very important for people to understand, like, these are the criteria that really make people successful in our company and really make people successful in life. And these are the things, by the way, that are the risks, the things that we don't want people to do, not because we want to control you, because we find these things to be destructive for people within our culture, or people within our organization, or people within our lives, right? What are the standards that we set? And I think that, as we set those standards, one of the things that I can say that, I am most proud of is that I can look around our company, and I am confident to say that every single person that works there would answer that they are better off for working for our company, and that, there's been several people in the last handful of years here that have bought a house for the first time in their company's history. There have been, people that, their family life has completely changed, from, just kind of figuring it out to really flying high, man, and looking at people and really, it's just exciting to watch people's lives evolve. And that all starts and ends with culture, right? It starts and ends with, how clear you are, how genuine you are, how much you actually care about people. And I think that, that is far too often overlooked in today's society. We're trying to move so fast and try to accomplish so many things. And it's an enormous risk to businesses if they don't slow down and actually figure out who it is that's getting them there and what difference those people are making. And I think as we develop that culture and people really buy into it, it's amazing to watch how those people that buy into the culture and really become part of the fabric of the company, they start to pass that same culture along, right? It's not just about the people that opened the company or the founders of the people that were there in the beginning. It's like, it just continues to expand and blossom into something amazing. So want to say what's up to my buddy Ken Walls. We wouldn't be here without him, man.
Exactly.
Thanks for tuning in, Ken. I appreciate it. And what's happening, Charles, Tom, Victoria? How are you guys? Thank you guys for tuning in here too. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for that. One of the things that I think is really amazing when you talk about culture and talking about loving people, you talk about perspective. Think about the person who always wanted to own a home, like you said. Right. And now, because you have taken the steps to not only listen to that voice, take massive action to implement that through the power of a decision. Now those individuals have the capability to like, okay, well, I'm going to start here. I hit that goal. And then ultimately, to be able to have a lifelong dream to be a homeowner, because they've taken those steps, because literally there are so many businesses out there, large companies, small companies, they forget about the one basic thing, and that's relationships, building relationships with people, not just always being takers and just what can you do for me? But no robbery and fair exchange, right? What can I do? How can I help you? How can I help you grow? And I know from in my career, I was so grateful that when I first started out in sales, that I had an outstanding, exceptional sales manager, because then I had a perspective of what wasn't good. And then you won't settle for anything less than at least this. Yeah. And so being able to provide that culture for people too, now they are growing and they will never expect or want anything less than what they have now been given. They're receiving, and they're taking that whole goodness to the world.
Yeah, I think the thing that stands out to me the most about people buying homes that work for us and it being the first time in their family, or even just buying a home in general, I think that it's one of those things. It says a couple of things to me. Number one, I instantly just think about, the kids that are, part of that family and growing up in a place that, they call home and that they're proud of, and, all that stuff. But the second part is that, it says something to me about their faith in our company, the stability that they see in our company, and the future that they see in our company, that they're confident enough to, purchase a home and grow roots in a place. And it's special. That's what I think. Sometimes companies, they grow bigger, or they stop paying attention to those types of, relational type details. And I think that, you are literally responsible for people's lives, right? And right. I never want to underestimate what that looks like as a leader, because I think when we do that, everything starts to go sideways, right? The organization starts to age significantly as a result of that. And so that leads to, turnover, which leads to fractures in the culture, which leads to all kinds of things. And so, being able to look at it, and again, being a coach to a bunch of companies in our industry, I get to see this successful in a lot of different places. And I've also seen the challenges that people have faced by not getting this right. And then, creating this cycle of just, working way harder than they need to, because the culture of the business isn't aligned properly. And so it creates all kinds of problems. And we've faced, our fair share of ours on the way to getting where we are, and we still continue to face problems all the time. But it's so important for people to realize that, as you develop real deep relationships with people, and you put those people's goals within the dreams of the company, that is how the magic happens. Everybody's dreams have to fit within that big umbrella of what the company is capable of doing. And the more that you stay dialed into those dreams, and the more you understand what each individual person actually wants to accomplish, and you listen and you create a space where people are actually able to accomplish that using the vehicle of the company as their way of getting it. That's what it's all about. I mean, that is ultimately how cultures become successful and very successful businesses.
Right. And within the top contractor school, that's a more geared toward like an academy where you're teaching the contractor skill sets and culture as well, just like you are within your company, correct?
Yeah. So we kind of focus on leadership, marketing, sales, culture. I mean, you name it, reporting, a little bit of analytics, some operations. We try not to get in. We've got a variety of different types of contractors, a lot of paving contractors, because that's the industry that I'm in. We've got general contractors, excavating companies, roofing companies, things like that. So we've got really almost every different type of contractor in there. But we try to check all the boxes, and really, we've got a couple different levels of programs. The highest level, we just had a meeting today, and it was actually focused on culture. And it was, that group is owners and leaders only. So people that own their own companies or in a leadership position within other ones. And today's topic just happened to be the do's and don'ts of company culture. Meaning, again, what do you want people to do? What are the list of things that successful people, champions within your business, what are the behaviors that you want people to duplicate? And then on the other side, what are the things that you see people that come into your business that don't last, that don't fit the culture? What are those things that we need to look for to avoid in potential hires or people that we're bringing into our businesses? So, but yeah, we try to check all the boxes and create a well-rounded training environment where people can learn any skill that they need to create a successful company.
Yeah, that's incredible. I don't remember if it was Mr. Calloway. There was a video that was one of the, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't want to misspeak, but there was a young guy who was sharing his story of how, because of one person giving them an opportunity and a chance, just how it changed his life. And I'm telling you, I was like bawling when I've got that video saved, actually, because that has also helped me just to hear someone else's story of, here's where I'm at, but I have hope, right? And it was very powerful. So I think, for you to start something that has so much momentum and it just continuing to grow, I just think that's just what is one of the most amazing things, because it's impacting so many people's lives on so many different levels, no matter what, where you're at.
Yeah, the Callaways are a great example of that. They're out of Portland, Oregon. So K&L Industries is their company, and their company mission statement is actually changing lives one shovel at a time. And and that is it's most likely the video that came from them. We have a few different companies that do those types of testimonial videos from their employees. Chris Filippelli's on this feed here, and he's one of the people in the group. He's got a great story. Early 20s, he's been running his company since he was 16 years old. So
wow,
just impressive all the way around, right? But again, our industry is really a second chance industry, right? Where a lot of the guys in the field, maybe have been in some trouble, or whatever the case is. Mm-hmm. And so those companies like the Callaways that, are willing to give people a second chance, man, the stories that come out of that are absolutely incredible and inspiring beyond, what people even have any idea what goes on inside the construction industry, the lives that are changed, the families that, are better for being, part of a team like K&L Industries. It's amazing. And, those stories are everywhere through the construction industry. But they are a great example of a company and a family that really, goes the extra mile.
Sure.
When you say it's a family business, like if you go hang out with them for a day, you know what that means, because it literally feels like a family. The crew talks to each other that way. They communicate that way. They care. They never leave each other hanging. And so, that's what's cool. I love what I get to do every day. I love the construction industry. I love, getting to work with the people. Most businesses in our industry are family businesses. They've been started by some individual, whether it's the person that's running them now, the father, the grandfather, the mother, whatever it may be.
Sure.
They've been started by a family member, and typically they do stay within the family, right? Or they grow big and then somebody acquires them, or whatever the case is. But the construction industry, even the largest companies, if you ask the question, most of them were started as family businesses. So it's a super cool industry to be a part of. And that really, it's the people. I always say that it's when you work with people that you genuinely enjoy helping and interacting with, it just makes every day that much more enjoyable.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question from a coaching perspective. You said that you do coaching. How has that experience been, and how has it changed your life? You sent me that video of what was it? It was talking specifically about coaching. And I'm telling you, that was very, very, very powerful, because there was so much truth to that. I think everything has been commercialized, that they lose the meaning of what it really means to help people excel and go to that next level. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, anybody that's on the internet today is going to see a lot of people out there that call themselves coaches, right? And I always say there's millions of coaches in the world, but really there's actually very few. And for me, it's always been, and it wasn't until, I was doing an interview with my advisor, and he was asking me questions about when I was a kid, and the answers that I gave was like, he was like, man, you've always been a teacher. You've always been somebody that was trying to help others with information. And it's true. I've always been that person that if I knew something, I wanted to tell somebody else. Mm-hmm. I think that the thing that nobody can miss when they're looking for advice, or they're looking for somebody to help them on their journey, is that has to be at the core of the person that you're working with, right? That they care about helping more than they care about money, right? There can be money exchanged, and I, totally believe in coaching. I invest a lot of money in it every single year for myself to get better, right? So that I can continue to grow and be able to help the people that I'm helping continuously, and they don't have to go somewhere else to find a new coach. I can grow into the next version of what they need. But I think that it's really, really important for people to realize that not every coach out there, if we're being real, not every coach out there is in it for the same reasons, Right. And again, it has to line up with your value system, right? If your values are, you're looking for somebody who genuinely cares, you have to be willing to vet that person and really dig into what motivates them, what keeps them going, what are their own experiences with coaching, what results have they gotten for people, what drives them, what's their background, all of those things. And we talked the other day about, this idea of qualifications in coaching. And I'm here to tell you guys, like, if you're looking for some sort of, certification or some validation, I would tell you that I'm not saying that it doesn't, that some people aren't qualified that have a certification, but in my experience, the very best are just great coaches with great hearts that have the right experience, that have the right knowledge, that they are passionate about transferring to you. And, those are the people you're looking for, because those are the people, I tell everybody in Top Contractor School, or anybody that I interact with, like, I will not stop working with someone until they are successful, right? That is what it takes. It doesn't matter how long it takes. If you're willing to hang in there, I'm willing to hang in there with you. And we will make sure that you are successful. There's Trisha. She used to hang out with you every single morning on Morning
I
Perspective.
know. I just so many good, wonderful people.
That's our new baby. You see that little picture right there? Look at that little guy.
She had a new baby?
Oh man, he's the cutest.
Really? I didn't know that, Trisha.
Oh man, he's adorable. You got a lot of videos and pictures to catch up on.
I do. You know, it's interesting because I don't get all the notifications anymore, you know, so if you're just not like taking the time to just go to every single page, sometimes you just miss out on stuff. I don't know why. I used to get stuff, you know, regularly, and now
because you're too popular now. You're too popular. No, it's true. The news feed is like crazy. You got to really go. It happens to me all the time. People are like, "Oh, you didn't see this?" I'm like, "Nope." You tend to see the same people over and over again, unless you really intentionally go interact, and then I think it works. But who knows what Zuckerberg's doing with the algorithm?
Who knows? You know what? I'm not. You know, the interesting thing is I've been, I think, on social media more in this last probably a few weeks than I have my whole life, actually, as far as being intentional and coming on, not just scrolling and, oh, it's fun, you know, but it's been a huge learning curve, but you know, it's good. I'm learning. Stepping outside of my comfort zone.
We'll have to ask Ken. I think Ken's friend was friends with Zuckerberg, so he'll be able to tell us how all that works.
Yeah, we'll maybe we get the inside scoop there, for sure. Absolutely, Brian. It has been. I know it's you're on the East Coast, and it's 9 o'clock there, and we've almost got an hour under our belt, and I could continue to talk to you for a very long time, but I want you to be at your best for Morning Perspective as you are every single day. And I know you got to get some time with your family, but I just want you to know that I think you're just amazing. And from the depths of my heart, I honor you. I respect you. I'm just honored to be in the same space here, you know, to be on the listening side, and now to be here having this conversation and this dialogue with you, man. That's pinch me. Am I dreaming?
Well, I can't wait to see what you do. Thank you so much for all the kind words, and I can't wait to see what you do. And you know, I told you this privately on the phone, but I'll tell you, you know, publicly again. You know, you have a heart that the world needs to hear from. You know, the world needs more people out there that are spreading joy and light and their stories and sharing. And man, I'm excited that you are embarking on this journey, because I think it's going to take you to amazing places. So from me to you, you have no idea how much your support means to me. And it was an honor to be able to return the favor and be here tonight with you and chat it up here. And I am available anytime that you need me, indefinitely. That's a wide open 24/7, 365. You tell me where I need to be and when, and I will be there to support you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And that being said, can you let everyone know where to find you? And because I want everybody to tune into the Morning Perspective. You will not be disappointed. I have many friends that are on this and they love it, that Morning Perspective. So how can they find you?
Yeah, so it broadcasts to my public channel, which is, I think it's under, if you just type in Brian Hess, so Brian Hess, there'll be a public profile that comes up. I want to say that it's under Brian Hess Enterprises. So if you go to facebook.com/Brian Hess Enterprises, that'll come up on Instagram or any of the other social media platforms. I'm Real Brian Hess. And on YouTube, you can just find it at Brian Hess as well. And it broadcasts live to YouTube as well. And it's on all the podcast platforms. So I'll copy and paste. I've got like kind of links of everywhere that somebody can find me. And I'll post that down in the comments here for everybody that wants to check something out. Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So everyone, we hope you have a great evening. Go back and watch this. And also make sure you share it out. And Brian, again, thank you so much. You're amazing.
Thank you. You're amazing.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you for having me.